Oh, no doubt. When you go through a season with 13 wins and no losses, that's very, very impressive. They also have a tremendous special teams unit that has pinned a lot of offenses deep down in the territory, and they've caused a lot of turnovers on the special teams. So really, they're three-pronged and do a great job in all aspects of the game of football. We haven't seen anything like it at all. It's very, very unique. Cal Poly runs some of it, and then you see, some things that are similar in other teams in our conference, but nothing that resembles it. They use, a lot of different running backs and receivers and quarterbacks. It's a wildcat, and yet then they'll throw their throwing quarterback in, and he's a pretty good runner too. He had a nice long run against Montana State, so really difficult to defend. You can't just defend one or two players. They probably have 5 players that would be outstanding athletes on a track team, so they're very, very fast. Well, I see tremendous defensive speed. A lot of teams, as Montana State, they ran some tight formations, and Sam Houston was able to put 10 people in the box and really put one corner out on a wide receiver, and not very good results. They just tremendous pursuit angles. They run side to side better than anybody we've played. I really feel that way as a team. Maybe better than Tennessee in that regard. Tennessee might have had 2 or 3 guys that were a bit faster, but I don't think the 11 guys for Tennessee were as fast as the 11 for Sam Houston. So that's a challenge, running sideways. We have to make sure we put our foot in the ground and get upfield as soon as our offensive line gives us a little bit of room to do that. And we have to use some misdirections and play actions to counter their speed. They do a lot of press coverage, and they'll be right in our receivers' faces with their hands all over our chests. Sometimes they slip up a little higher into your neck area and face masks. So those are things that we have to, the officials aren't going to see all that very often, so those are things we have to battle. We know it's coming. We have to do an outstanding job with technique football out on the perimeter. Again, like Northern Iowa, they have some very good players that come off blocks and make plays. So again, major league challenge for our receiver corps. Well, I really look at the last month, maybe the last 5 weeks, with the buys in there, and then a travel to Bozeman, and then some home games, and the management parts. It's part of the job. I think our assistants have done a great job of just realizing, hey, this is what we have to do, and this is what we have to tell the players to do, and the players have done an outstanding job of listening to when they have to be there, and they're there. They show up prepared for practice, and they practice extremely hard in those 5 weeks. But you know what? We'd like to spread that thing around with our 3 backs. I think it's a total different look on defense. You have to tackle Dan more, then you have to come back in and tackle Peter or Jordan. I think that's a challenge, because if you tackle Dan the same way you tackle Peter, something's going to give, and Dan might just run you right over, and then the next shot, Jordan Canada might move out of the way as you're attempting to tackle. So we like what we're doing. I think we're going to have to spread some things out a little bit, and our passing game has to be successful for our run game to work. They do it all the time because they can depend on the 2 corners to lock your receiver core down, and then bring the safeties up into the box, bring your outside linebackers in, and play kind of between your slots and your tackles or your tight ends. So a lot of times even if you have 2 wide receivers split out, it looks like there's 10 guys in that box. So that's what they've done all year. Montana State's has some similar system that we do in our offense. However, I think our running backs are different. I think they're a little bit more downhill. I think we can run a little sideways, put our foot in the ground, and get some yardage that way, and we can also run downhill. So I like our 3 running backs going into this game. There'll be major challenges. They're going to have to break some tackles for us to have success in the run game. Well, yeah, obviously something's got to give. Going into Northern Iowa, they were kind of the reverse. They scored 95% of the time in there, and our defense did a nice job. So there's always those unique individual challenges, whether it's the linebackers versus the backs or offense versus their D or special teams. But I think those are subplots to the entire game. I mean, obviously we have to play well no matter what part of the field we're on. And as it gets down in there, it's critical. Montana State came away with 2 field goals. If those would have been touchdowns, they might have been able to survive the kickoff return. But I think that changed the momentum of the game, and it was a whole different game after that. I mean, it's not a sightseeing trip at all. They have I think it's a federal prison there. We're not going to go through the prison or do anything like that. I don't think that's what we're after. We're after to go down there and play a football game. And so, no, in fact, I'm perfectly fine leaving on Thursday morning. In the option game, our eyes have to be so much better on defense than any game we've played to date this season. We got to find the football. They do a good job of hiding it or pulling it or keeping it. And, again, not just one guy. A few different guys can do that for them. So that's a unique challenge. But we have to have tremendous eyes as we do every week. But I think we have to, turn it up a notch in that area.
They've got real big play capability. They can explode at any moment. So I guess the biggest thing for our defense is we're looking just to play assignment football and, do your 1/11th. You got to do your job the right way. And you gotta expect everybody else to do their job, and you have to do it without any question, because that's when they burn people. Washington Grizz is unlike anything else there is out there, but I mean, good teams win on the road, and if we're gonna make a run at this national championship, we've got to learn to win on the road. And I mean, we're going down to Texas, so it'll be similar weather, not looking ahead or anything, but we got to learn to play on the road and be a good team on the road. So I think it's a good challenge for our team, and I think we're ready for it. We practice really hard, and we, like Dan said, we meet really early in the morning. We have a lot of meetings, so we know our opponents really well, and so our confidence comes in our preparation. So we just make sure that we prepare really well, and we know that the guy standing next to us prepared just as hard as we did, and that it's going to show on the field. Yeah, they've definitely got some speed back there. 6 is more of a runner, but from what I understand, he's been trained as a quarterback as well, so there's always a threat that he'll throw it. But I mean, it just, you expect run and you play pass second, I guess. But I mean, they're more heavy run oriented, and that's what we're gearing up to play. And we'll play the pass well as well. They're good. They're really good players. We trust them a lot, and they've made great plays week in and week out. And they've definitely got a lot of trust. But I think that just goes with all of our team. We trust each other to do our jobs the way that we're supposed to, because we know that we can. So I think that, especially when we're facing an offense like this, you have to just have trust in the next guy that they'll get the job done.
We have meetings every morning, and a lot of us don't have finals till later on in the day. So we get up, we watch our film early, and we just go on about our day, just normal week. So finals, they the professors are really good with working with our schedules, and you go talk to them, and they help us out, try and find a time when we can take it. Peter and Jordy are more shifty than I am. I mean, just they're a lot smaller than I, but when we run outside plays and need longer yardage, I mean, you put them in and they make it happen. So short yardage and a couple pass plays there, I'm your guy. So they're Peter and Jordy are almost the same guy to me. I feel like they're a lot quicker, they're faster. They make a lot of guys miss. Like Coach said, if a backer steps in a hole, I'm going to try and hit him, and if he tries to do the same thing to Peter and Jordy, they might spin him or cut him or anything like that. So it's 3 different dynamics for defense to look at.
If the receivers can do their thing out there and threaten them with the pass, and I think that'll definitely open up the run game and get some of those guys out of the box. And I mean, they're very physical up front, and this is probably one of the best fronts we've seen all year, physically. And I think if we do a good job in hitting some big passes on them, that'll open up the run game for us, and we'll be able to do our thing and keep doing what we're doing that we've been doing the last few weeks. We've been rushing over 200 yards the last 8-9 weeks or something. And I think it's going to take everyone this week to make that happen. their D-line reminds me at least a lot of Tennessee. They're fast, they're physical, and they get to the ball. I mean, it's almost a mirror image, I'd say. I mean, but I think that we've gotten so much better since we played Tennessee that I think that we'll be all right against them. Not really. I mean, this is really the first that I've really noticed how many guys they actually stack in the box. I mean, I've never seen anything like it, and I think their speed, has the thing to do with that. If we do end up throwing on them when they stack the box, they're fast enough to recover, from being so close to, the line of scrimmage.